I think like from 2000 to 2011, right? I forgot the numbers. I was looking at the chart today, but gold severely outperformed stocks, right?
Right.
Even though stocks were going much higher pretty fast, gold was outpacing them. I think gold went up by a factor of nine, 8 or 9 times, and stocks maybe two or three. So that's when it still, even though gold is at relatively near all-time highs, most people don't own any.
The year 2024 has been extraordinary for both stocks and precious metals. Gold surged to a record high of $2,800 per ounce on October 31st, reflecting an impressive annual gain of over 25%. Similarly, silver prices climbed by approximately 21.46% throughout the year. The S&P 500 delivered a robust 23.3% yearly return in the stock market, marking its second consecutive year with over 20% growth. Overall, gold had a competitive performance in 2024, outpacing some major stock indices like the S&P 500 while not matching the higher gains seen in others, such as the Nasdaq Composite. Renowned investor Rafi Farber emphasizes that most people currently lack exposure to gold or silver and are unlikely to invest until it's too late, when they realize that their stock portfolios no longer retain the purchasing power needed to acquire tangible assets. This delayed recognition could trigger a surge in demand for gold and silver, driving their prices significantly higher. In 2024, the US dollar strengthened by over 5.6% on its trade-weighted DXY index against other major developed world currencies. However, this gain was not enough to offset the significant decline it experienced the previous year. Despite the dollar's rise, gold reached new all-time highs in 2024 when measured against the US currency. This matched the record count of 2011, the peak of gold's bull market during the financial crisis. It marked the most fresh highs since the inflation and geopolitical turmoil in 1979 drove gold to its then all-time high in January 1980, a record that stood for nearly 3 decades. Farber anticipates that a collapse of the dollar will strip away the power of those who rely on its dominance, leaving them unable to enforce their authority effectively. This could lead to a significant societal reset, with power returning to the public. Join us as we dive into the video for a deeper look. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to stay informed about our latest updates.
Gold is at or near all-time highs, silver not. But in rather than focus on the dollar amount, I think the real question is like how are gold and silver going to perform relative to stocks, relative to the things that people have in their portfolios? Because really no one's going to care what the price of gold and silver are if their stock portfolio keeps going up even faster than gold and silver do. Why would you need gold and silver if your net value keeps rising and rising, and the number that you see when you log into your brokerage account on Interactive Brokers or TD Ameritrade or whatever, the number keeps going higher, so you're fine.
Right.
You don't need anything. The question is when is gold and silver going to really start outperforming these stock portfolios? And I think that's going to be this year. I mean, the bottom in terms of silver already came in September 2022. It's been edging up since then. And gold relative to the S&P has been stuck in a trading range for 9 years. But if you look at a chart of these ratios, when it starts to move fast. And then I think it was from 2000 to 2011, right? I forgot the numbers. I was looking at the chart today, but gold severely outperformed stocks, right?
Right.
Even though stocks were going much higher pretty fast, gold was outpacing them. I think gold went up by a factor of 8 or 9 times, and stocks maybe two or three. So that's when it still, even though gold is at relatively near all-time highs, most people don't own any, and they're not. Most people aren't going to own any until they already realize that it's too late, that their stock portfolios aren't worth, they're not going to buy them anything, and they can't really cash out for anything that's worth any real asset. So they'll all
Absolutely.
pile into gold and silver at the same time, and that's what we don't want to do. So um, I think it's going to happen this year after the next dollar panic. I think within the next quarter or two. If the dollar does collapse, and it will, once
Mhm.
that happens, then who's they? What are they, what with what power are they going to do anything? Because their big power is the fact that they can control the dollar and they can take dollars and buy things and buy guns and buy tanks and buy thugs to enforce the law. But
Yeah.
once none of that works, they've got nothing. I mean, they have whatever they have, but so does everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty. They're not going to be able to enforce anything. So then at that point, everything goes back to it's a reset, but it's a reset on the public's terms. And then you just got to hope that the public has enough sense to it, and enough local leaders that we don't descend into chaos. And I think, especially with, I've seen humanity go from completely insane to slowly coming out of a stupor, especially from 2021 to now. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that everyone's normal now, but I think people are a lot more normal than they were 4 years ago, and I think we're going in the right direction. I just hope that by the time the dollar does collapse, there's enough sanity in the world to so that we all kind of huddle together and say, "Look, we got a big thing problem here. We got to deal with this level-headed and coolly," and hopefully that's what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have any power to institute a crypto system, which would just be another layer in a pyramid that already collapsed.
Silver is set to outperform gold in 2025, driven by robust industrial demand from green energy sectors such as photovoltaics and electric vehicle (EV) electrification. Global industrial silver demand, projected to exceed 700 million ounces in 2024, marking a 7% increase, is expected to grow even further in 2025. Additionally, ETF demand for silver is expected to surge in 2025, driven by monetary easing across major economies, hopes of additional stimulus packages from China, and heightened geopolitical risks. Rafi Farber believes that in times of potential financial instability, maintaining a sense of calm is crucial, and one effective way to do so is by holding tangible assets such as silver. He emphasizes that silver has been recognized as money for millennia, and its physical characteristics, being weighty, shiny, and historically valuable, can provide a reassuring sense of security. Now let's redirect our attention to a video.
First thing is that you want to calm down, and there's nothing more calming. Well, there are more things. There are things that are more calming, but you know, just having a bag of junk silver is calming if you are freaking out about the monetary situation. Just to have it and to hold it and it's heavy and it's shiny, and we know it's been money for thousands of years. So just get a bag of that. A few $1,000s worth in today's prices, just to calm yourself down. And you don't have to go all into silver, all into gold. You don't have to sell all your Bitcoin if you've made some money in Bitcoin, but just have some amount of gold and silver after physical. You can buy ETFs if you want to do that. It's less recommended, but it's not going to hurt.
Right.
After you have your physical, then I think that mining stocks are actually safer than gold or silver ETFs, because mining stocks are titles to an actual company, whereas a gold ETF, they could just take the gold or silver and then you have nothing.
Right.
Nationalizing a company is much harder to do. So if you want to experiment or speculate a little bit more, then you can buy gold mining ETFs. Those have been doing so horribly for so many years
Yeah.
that they're so cheap, especially relative to gold and silver. You can just, put 1 or 2% of them in your portfolio. You don't have to sell so much. Just have enough that you're not freaking out about what happens if the SHTF, just to calm yourself down. The sudden realization that everybody needs silver when the dollar no longer functions,
Right.
that demand by everybody, by the entire planet, is much bigger than the solar panel industry. And I think the end game is going to happen way before everybody adopts solar panels on their roof, to a point that would push silver significantly higher just because of that. I don't
Yeah.
know what the dynamics are per solar panel and how much silver you're going to need. There's going to be a shortage problem, but even before we hit any of that, we're going to hit the end game, and we're going to see the dollar silver exchange rate go to a number that would cover everyone's demand for silver when their currencies no longer function. And then after that, once silver calms down again and we rebuild another monetary system based on gold and silver, then we can start worrying about solar panels and what they're going to do to the silver price. Well, yeah, there's manipulation, but I don't really care about it so much. It doesn't really bother me.
Right.
The reason I'm saying that is Look, if there's manipulation, let's say in tomatoes, right, then you would see if the price of tomatoes is being held down, then what you would see is a shortage of tomatoes at the grocery store. You wouldn't be able to buy tomatoes because the price is too low, and then people buy more than is available, and the number of buyers don't equal the number of sellers, and you have a tomato shortage. Even a sale on tomatoes, like tomatoes are like whatever, 50 cents a pound today. And then, oh, and there's a limit to like 5 pounds per customer, but that means a shortage. So with any commodity that they try to hold the price down, it's very obvious what they're doing because you see a shortage.
Right.
But why isn't that the same? There's no shortage in gold or silver. If you want to buy gold, you can do it. If you want to buy silver, you just, call up a retailer and buy it. It's a
Hmm.
you can go to a coin shop, you can buy it. There's no shortage of gold and silver. But that's because the gold and silver are money. There's a money price and there's a commodity price, right?
Right.
The tomatoes, you can do one thing with them. You can eat them. With silver you can either consume it, like, put it in a solar panel or whatever consumes silver, even if it's not really consuming. Let's just call it consumption or using it in some other thing. There's also the monetary price. There's the monetary price, and that's what's being manipulated. The monetary price is assume the dollar doesn't work, assume all currencies are dead, and everybody needs silver to survive because they need some kind of money to divide labor with. Right? So then everybody needs silver at the same time. What is the exchange rate for that? That's
Right.
what's being manipulated. But that manipulation all goes at once when the dollar finally does die. And so, yeah, it's being manipulated. Why? Because the dollar exists. The dollar is the manipulation. The futures market is the mechanism by which they keep the dollar alive by keeping the dollar exchange rate with silver monetarily at the commodity consumption level. Right? The silver price that you see is the price of silver as a commodity. At that price, the of $30 an ounce, there's enough silver for all the industry for people who use silver. But
Absolutely.
what's the monetary price if everybody needs a coin?
Yeah.
That we don't know.
Could
But
be a
that's
hundred
what
bucks, could
that's
be
that's what
200.
has to be revealed. It could be $1,000 at this
Yeah.
point.
In 2024, gold outperformed the US dollar and many stock indices, achieving a 25% annual gain and reinforcing its reputation as a hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. While the dollar continues to face the erosion of its purchasing power due to inflation and economic uncertainty, gold has proven its ability to retain value over time, making it an attractive alternative for investors seeking stability. The surge in demand for tangible assets like gold, driven by concerns over fiat currency and stock market volatility, could lead to higher prices in the future. What's your outlook towards precious metals in 2025? Join the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you found value in this video, and subscribe to stay engaged with our community.